In Florida, one person commits suicide every 3 hours. Let that sink in for a moment. In 2017, Palm Beach County alone had 199 deaths by suicide. As alarming as that sounds, there is help. And we're joined today by Candi Spitz. She's with a 211 helpline. Candi, hello there. Nice to see
Hi,
you
John.
again.
Thank
Boy,
you.
those are some shocking statistics when you hear those. First, let's go through the warning signs that a loved one may be considering suicide.
And it's not necessarily warning signs. The most important thing right now is people are expressing that there's something wrong. People are willing to talk about it, but it's whether or not we receptively take in what they're trying to say to us. Right now, it's the second leading cause of death for children from ages 10 to age 24. And what we're hearing from those in our call centers, they're actually calling in asking for help and saying that they're telling a parent, a loved one, a caregiver that something is wrong, and people aren't taking it seriously.
Wow.
So it's really actively listening to understand.
See, like, sometimes we use terms like, oh, you're killing me.
Yes.
I mean, should that be taken as, that's
no, but
a
I
little
said,
too dramatic, right?
And in this day and age, people don't understand the difference between what is happening right now is not going to influence the rest of their lives.
Right.
And especially our children. As I said, this is the second leading cause of death.
Yeah.
And that's why, 211 is here, especially for children, via text. It's not just calling into 211. They can text us 24 hours a day. They can be in the cafeteria being bullied, going through whatever issues. And they have somebody, a crisis counselor, that they can talk to.
Okay, good to know. Now, if a person seems troubled, is it safe to ask them if they're thinking about hurting themselves?
Absolutely, and I'm so glad you asked that. A common misconception is not to bring up suicide, but what we are actually trained is the correct thing to do is to say specifically, are you thinking about suicide? Do you have a plan? Do you have the means to do it? Get those thoughts out there. It's not going to trigger something in them. It's actually going to do the opposite and get you to talk about what's going on.
Good to know, because I mean, as a lay person, you would think, oh my goodness, I don't even want to bring it up because it might trigger something.
Exactly.
That's not the way it works.
That is not the way it works.
Good to know. All right, talk about some of the resources available to anyone who may be considering.
Of course. So the first step always is to call 211. Right. I'm not sure if you know or are aware, we are the regional responders for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline.
And that's 24/7.
That's 24/7. But when you call that very highly publicized number, the 1-800-227-TALK, which is everywhere, and it's a very important number to call, you're calling us locally here at 211. Okay. You have a kind, compassionate, caring individual who is going to sit there and listen to what you have to say. And it's not a 2-minute phone call.
And it's not just somebody going, yeah, go ahead. It's a trained professional.
Yes, and I'm so glad that we get to experience listening to what they're saying to them in there, because they can be on the phone 45 minutes, they can be on the phone for 2 hours, and they actually care about what you have to say. And it's proven that having someone to speak to actually derails people from committing suicide. All
right. Now, you have an event that's coming up, and WPTV anchor Michael Williams will be emceeing it. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. So because this is a public health outrage right now, we are doing our second annual Lifeline Luncheon at the Kravis Center on November 8th. We're featuring Kevin Briggs. He is known as the guardian of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, nice. As your keynote speaker.
He's our keynote speaker.
Wonderful.
He is a California Highway Patrol officer who is now retired, who is responsible for saving over 200 people from completing suicide. Powerful, powerful speaker, and ties directly in with our message of actively listening to understand.
Sounds
and it's
like
just a gentle, compassionate voice can truly make a difference.
All right. And hopefully you'll get a lot of people going there.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Candi.